Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Paps, a rising VTuber and an artist. Today we're going to be working on this comic page. So, to kind of outline my thought process, I realized that from page 4 to about page 9, page 7, to around page 7, so until around the next page, it's all kind of taking place in the same zone. So what I kind of wanted to try and do was see if I can make the line art for all of these first, and then kind of pivot on that and make sure that I can just like color all of them in one go because they're all just using the same colors, the same everything. So that's the idea for right now. God, I actually can't imagine how chaotic that's going to be once I get it started. Imagine me like kind of what is that like one scene where I don't remember how to describe it. It's like the character is like multi-flipping between why do I have so many layers for just a sketch? What is your problem? Let's just tuck them all away into a folder. Just real stop dodging. Stop dodging stop dodging your fate. You're not a Greek hero, you are not a shonen manga protagonist, you are an abstraction of data. Get over yourself. I mean, I guess even abstraction of data have to lay down the law every now and again, right? I like to imagine that's why. Oh, hey, Bryson. Oh, yes. Rice Beast Redeem. Let's go. I reckon even unlimited optimism works. That is the name of the noble phantasm. God, Shiro's life would have been so much easier if he had just gotten, like, 3 hours one-on-one with a psychologist instead of whatever the fuck it was like to get raised by Kiritsugu. Christ, can you imagine getting raised by fucking Kiritsugu? World's most emotionally stunted man 3 years running? The guy who couldn't own up to his feelings so hard that an entire city got consumed by flames? Actually, I've never seen Fate Zero. I don't know what his whole role was in destroying Fuyuki the first time around. I reckon it was not insubstantial. Hey dad, what is mom like? Well son, let me tell you about the cup that ruined my fucking life. It's literally like that. Caught the Holy Grail, look inside, nothing holy. Wait, what is this? Oh, I think it's because I have one of these things. There we go. Now I can move it freely. God. All of that shit in the Magus Wars or whatever they're called, just for a cup that doesn't even have like a sippy container on top. Like, what is the fucking point? What is the point, I ask you? Like, that thing can't actually grant your wish, and it doesn't have like a cover? Cringe. I don't know what to tell you. Wait, what do you mean actually? Wait, no. Does it have like a cover? Does the fucking does the fucking Holy Grail from Fate have a sippy cup cover? Oh my god. I haven't listen, I don't really keep up with Fate lore beyond like the 4 or so months that I sunk into Fate Grand Order. And also whatever my mutuals at the time are like brain blasting about what you call it. Like I don't know. The thing about Fate is that despite all other like everybody talking shit, oh stream is lagging badly on my computer. I see. But yeah, the thing about Fate, the series is that despite everybody being more than willing to talk shit on it for like it's like weird points and you know how ridiculous it can be, right? Like conceptually, it is still a very competently written series that has like a lot of meat to analyze. I think like it's especially because like I have a lot of people who I know a lot of people who also like Common Writer, right? A lot of the themes of like heroism and like the kind of like mythos of Common Writer, right? Like that idea of heroism despite its tragedy. Those resonate really well with whatever's going on in Fate. The thing about Fate is that mages are assholes, and the chances of a historical figure being into you are not zero. I like that you framed that as like, I think you're the first person to like make me realize that the reality of like being courted by like one of the heroic spirits. Like when you frame it as being like as having a historical figure being into you, it's like instantly like, oh god. Like that feels wrong. To be fair, a lot of them aren't exactly historical figures. Like there are a couple of those goons running around who aren't exactly historical figures, but are some kind of mythically relevant individual. And then there's Miyamoto Musashi. God, Musashi from Fate is just so funny. Imagine summoning a god and they're slightly into you. That would be that's true. That is an ego boost, but also like, hmm, would I fumble that bag? I think I would. I think I would fumble it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky and like one of the heroic figures from Fate is going to be into short dudes who are thick around the waist and also are made of rice. Hmm. It'll be a tough market, but I think I can. I think I can. I think I can sell it. Yeah, that is like the classic bit. Oh man, what is happening with the fingers over here? Like I can kind of see what's going. Wait, no, hang on, I see it. I see the circle or the knuckles. I guess I see the knuckles. Me when I boot up my copy of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I see the knuckles. Me when I'm in a when I'm in a no gloves allowed boxing match, and my opponent is punching very slowly. I see the knuckles. My doctor after he takes X-rays of my hand after I punch a drywall. I think that's the last one I have. I don't think I have any more. I think I'm tapped out. That was my last one. Yeah. Mage 2 in seating. Yeah. Isn't that what Samurai Remnant is about? I want to believe that that's just the plot of Samurai Remnant. Man, if I was in Samurai Remnant, nothing could stop me. All right. We have these two little exhaust ports that I am beginning to realize look more and more to me like snail antenna eye thingies. Okay, so that's gonna curve around like this. I love that the community agreed Samurai Remnant Saber's name is Thaber. I mean, that's a good pun, is the thing. That's a solid. That's a solid 10 out of 10 pun. Maybe an 8 out of 10 if you're feeling uncharitable. I have a soft spot for puns, though. That's the problem. I'm not an objective judge of their quality. Did I put this guy's hand over? Wait. Okay, that goes over, and okay, yeah, wait. Yeah, no, wait, no. No. Yeah, no. Okay, we're gonna need to switch this around. God. Yeah, but they don't leave out. Imagine your homie from like from just before the Meiji Restoration pulls out a posts a thirst tweet of like, I don't know. Yeah, that's how the Meiji Restoration happened. The fucking emperor got restored to power. Is that what happened during the Meiji? I played fucking Yakuza Ishin or Ryuga Gotoku Ishin, and I still don't remember how the fucking Meiji Restoration happened. Let me tell you, they could not get my ass to swear loyalty to the daimyo. I can tell you that much. Okay. Right, trade with foreigner starters. I remember that. Open the country, stop having it be closed. And I think it was called like the Meiji Restoration because they were restoring the emperor to power or some shit or something. Okay, close this up. Traders became rich and wealthy, even though traders were at the bottom of the caste system. Uh-oh. Never a good sign when you're in a when you're in a society when like you're at the bottom and then you get to the top. That tends to get people nervous. Okay. Switch it like this. Okay. Move it forward like that. The samurai were absolutely molding that they weren't being given the respect that they deserve. Yeah, that happens, huh? Let's see. Where's the reference that I had for this ray gun? Here we go. Right on. Okay, so that's gonna kind of come in like this. It's like a tuning fork, really. Their families were growing poor since they didn't really give anything to the economy. Yep. Bro, imagine if you were the first dude to tell a samurai get a job. Nah, you would definitely get cut up. That guy would definitely draw the blade. Okay. Alright. Now, if I can get consistent with like how and where. Oh wait, hang on. Alright, I need to move this hand a little bit to the right. Dude, you know that like do you know that pre-Meiji era samurai Twitter would have gone insane? Like imagine some samurai is having like some Sephiroth style meltdown at your homie and he just posts a link to Indeed. Oh, that would be glorious. Right. The samurai started their own rebellion. Which failed because swords and courage don't really hold up well to cannons and guns. No, that they don't. Yeah, it's been a real bummer that like swords and courage aren't enough to start a rebellion anymore. You used to not even need that. You just needed courage and pitchforks. It's a gross oversimplification, but it's a gist. All right, that's serviceable. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. I find that gross oversimplifications are actually a really good place to start getting into history on your own because then you're like, okay, but like then why didn't the samurai do, why didn't the samurai rebel earlier? Or why didn't they try to get the guns themselves? And you kind of learned that, okay, maybe there were these limiting sociological factors. Probably also that like guns were pretty expensive, so that's why they didn't try to opt in for the GAT. Every time I remember that, I imagine like a samurai trying out a different weapon. I remember this one Flork of Crows comic where the samurai are like talking about like bows, because like apparently bows are very popular before they adopted swords, or at least that's the historical gist that I'm getting from that comic. It might be inaccurate because funny meme comic, not exactly known for historical accuracy. But they were like, always use the bow. There is no weapon more honorable. And then some dude pulls up with a sword, and they're like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, it's a sword. I've made it from steel. Ain't it tight? And they're like, that is pretty tight. All right, we use swords now. We don't use bows anymore. There is no weapon more honorable than the sword. Also, the samurai were mad that their right to cut down civilians who pissed them off was being revoked. God. Yeah, no. Being a samurai was more or less an open license to be a dickhead in public. Let's see. Okay, cut this, cut that. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna make these hands a little bit bigger. Oh wow, that really opens up the space, huh? Nice. I'm just imagining some kind of like boomer samurai being like, "Fuck you, mean I can't practice Sujikiri anymore? That's like half the reason I got this job, or I was born into this job because of the noble caste thing." Okay. Steam. Imagine being the first samurai to apply for a waiter job at a restaurant. Honestly, I could picture a samurai deciding to become like a bouncer for a club or something. So you just see some down and out samurai just posted outside of like the local equivalent of like the ancient the Meiji era Aldi's being like will manslave for money. Absolutely pitiful state of existence. I think I didn't do something right here. God, imagine. I mean, like the thing is, right? The samurai. I think like that would have been mostly a pride thing, right? It would have had to be mostly a pride thing. You can still be violent against the rabble, just don't kill them. Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, like the thing is, I feel like the samurai would have. The thing is, like, because I don't imagine that the samurai would have been like too poorly off. I think it would have been mostly like a pride thing, right? Because like, if you were born a samurai, you would have had access to like some level of education and you know some benefits from being like in the noble class. So it really was just like straight up skill issue. Yeah, like God. Like they're like, like we're like I'm imagining some kind of like podcast style interview with a samurai being like, "Ah, man, those were the days. I tell you, you used to just be able to murder somebody for money, and now I have to fucking learn how to use QuickBooks or some shit. I'm a CPA now." God. Yeah, the problem is as well that because when you make a caste system like that too, I imagine that a lot of the problems are also that because you literally look down on every other job, you ended up kind of fucking yourself out of being able to put yourself in a quote unquote respectable position. Because now, because you can't do your job, and now you have to take somebody else's job, and woe be unto you if you shit talk that job previously. Imagine being raised your whole life being told all the things you can do and all the benefits you'll have, only to find out all of it was taken away from you and now your family has nothing. The problem is, right, like, I think it really was a skill issue because, like, you mentioned that like it was like they were not being called upon as much. There must have been another way for them to make money or at least contribute to society somehow, but no, they decided to just like fucking get nuts with it, and for that they were murdered. Listen, I have a really hard time pitying the samurai. I'm not gonna lie. I think when you have like a group of people who like whose whole thing was like murdering with impunity, and they suddenly can't do that anymore, I have a hard time feeling like I don't like feeling bad for them. Steaming you like a crab. Okay, cut this. There we go. Okay, so how do I? Oh, right. Zoop. Flatten this. All right, now I just gotta like work this thing like a fine wire. Catch me at the local nightclub beating beating Captain Grabass to death near with the family Kanabo. God. I think the Kanabo is seriously an underappreciated weapon out of like the different samurai repertoire. Like everybody talks sweet about the katana, but like having just a big thing of iron, the big iron in the big iron in question, right? I feel like that's underappreciated. The biggest iron. Like I remember I was doing some research into like club fighting, right? I have like this character of mine who uses a baseball bat as her weapon, and I wanted to see if I couldn't find some kind of like martial arts that uses clubs as like its primary weapon. The problem is that like 90% of those are like lost, are like either HEMA stuff or there's very little variety. Like there's a Indian Gada Yuda, which is still practiced, and it's a form of exercise as well. Also, on a completely unrelated note, I did find out that apparently it is like a large source of like. There's no easy way to say this. There was like I saw a lot of like Indian bar porn when I did some research on it. But anyway, that aside, I also found out about like Kanabo Jutsu, which is like the fighting art with the Kanabo, which was very interesting. I actually really liked that a lot. There was this one demonstration of it I saw on YouTube of this dude who was like swinging it around himself like some kind of violent, deadly ribbon. The samurai knew about how violence coated a baseball bat is. Damn, looks like they could see into the future, but they could not see past their finances. Yeah, there's like this. I remember there was like this for Chinese weapons, right? There are like these epithets for the different types of weapons. I remember like the straight sword, for example, was like the gentleman of weapons. Then the staff was like the general of weapons or something. I forget what like the club is called. I don't think it had a title. I don't think it had an epithet. Hang on. Bu- 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 bu. I'm gonna look up Jian on Wikipedia, and hopefully that'll lead me to where I want to see. All right. Okay, no. So they had the staff, the spear, and the saber as well, besides the straight sword. Which makes sense. The spear, I like spears, right? Spears are very nice. Honestly, I'm very partial to Chinese sabers. I really like the look of them. I remember one of my PE teachers was this big Chinese martial arts nerd who kind of rubbed whose kind of nerdiness of around Chinese martial arts rubbed off on me. And she actually left me two things. She left me a punching bag, which I used to teach myself to box one summer, and she also left me a pair of straight swords that were for like wushu demonstrations. And I never really got a chance to use the swords because it's very difficult to find the correct space and resources to train in those. Like you can just try and copy something from YouTube, right? But like you also need like a lot of space to do those routines. And it's not like you can practice it in the street because you're holding a fucking sword. You know, that'll disrupt the common peace a little bit. She berserker on my saber till I cast her. I'm somehow amazed that you didn't fit the writer class in there somewhere. That took a lot of restraint. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. Again, zero presence of the writer class, which again, very resourceful. All right, let's see here. Okay, bring this down like this. Let's bring it in like this. She rather loud and correct buzzer noise. I think that's not like what that one E pluribus unum singularity was about in Fate Grand Order. I need to stop outing myself that I played fucking gotcha games at some point. I need to like pretend that I don't know them. I feel like it's just funnier if I do that. I played Fate Grand Order too. Yeah, but the thing is, I need to like pretend that I didn't. I think if I somehow know all these things and pretend I never played the game, or rather I act clueless about these things, I feel like it's going to give me some kind of tactical advantage. I don't know. There might be some benefit to it. Hmm. Okay, bring this around here. Now that doesn't feel quite right. I need to make it a little taller. There we go, like that. Or maybe a little further down. Yeah, there we go. I also need to make the little jet here a little bit smaller. Yeah. Listen, the moment they started referring to Berserker Jalter as Jerker, it was over. It was over from that very moment until the rest of time. Funnily enough, the event where like Jerker made her appearance is the event where I stopped playing the game. I it's so funny, right? I was playing like Arknights and Fate Grand Order like at the same time, simultaneously, right? I was playing both of those games at once, and I quit Arknights when the event for this one character called Neon showed up, and I rolled her like first try, and I was like, all right, I've peaked. Time to leave. I have nothing left to see here. Time to go home. And I uninstalled the game. And then Summer 3 came around for Fate Grand Order, which was the one event I really wanted to see because I wanted to see like their approach to like the idea of like, oh, the servants are doing a version of Comic Ed, which is really funny. And I'm like, I like really funny things, and I like the idea of like the servants putting together a comic, and I want to see that. So I get to the event, I roll the gacha because I've been saving up. I've been saving up like the currency in the game. I roll Mysterious Heroine Alter XX and Summer BB, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I've peaked. It's time for me to leave. Oh yeah, needing a resource to play the game is kind of a bother. Yeah. Like I get why they do it on a fundamental level, but I feel like I see it less and less these days. I feel like I see energy systems in games go around less because I feel like now enough games don't have one that if you put an energy system in your game, they're just going to go to play the other game. Which, from what I understand, isn't what you want. You want maximum engagement at all possible times. Although that's also kind of unsustainable, is the thing. Like, if you just make the player's life about your game forever and always, it's going to be very difficult for them to come back to it because they will feel like they can't, they can't uproot the. It's like they've lost their streak, right? Like it's like, oh man, I'll have to like do this whole thing. It's kind of a bother. I might as well just not go back. That's what there was like this one game, right? Preston, have you ever heard of a game called The World Ends With You? It was originally a DS game. It got ported to mobile later on, and then it got released on Switch along with its sequel, which people thought would never come out. I also never thought it would come out, and then it did, to the surprise of literally everyone involved. I hear about it, but I never seen anything about it. See, the game has like this system for where like you also level up your character, but more than anything, you level up like the weapons that you use, which are these like which are in the game lore supposed to be like these pins, right, that you attach to your clothing. And the thing is, there are three ways to level your pins. There is a friend point system where you like connect to a friend or with another player through like the online functionalities of the game. There is the normal way, which is like getting the pins experience through battle. And then there is a third way, which is this way called rest mode. So if you don't play the game for like more than a few days at a time, the game actually gives the tools in the game experience for as long as you don't come back, up to a maximum of like 7 days, right? So they'll be like, okay, you had to take a little break, no problem. We'll that happens when you come back. We'll have your stuff like a little bit leveled up as a kind of welcome back gift. And it was so interesting to me. It was like genuinely fascinating because I'd never seen a game kind of like reward you for not playing it, or at least kind of not really incentivize you not to play, but also like it's hard to describe it. It's like I've never felt a game leave so little pressure for me, and it was so interesting and nice and different. I do think more games should try and do that. Like I feel like if your players are happier as people, they will be more likely to enjoy having fun with your game, and that'll translate to either word of mouth or I don't know, some other benefit, but it certainly couldn't hurt. Right? I see no possible reason why it would hurt. Besides, whatever insane money making scheme you're hoping to rake them in on, but that is definitely a secondary concern to me. I just saw somebody boot up the Dragon Ball Fighter Z on Steam. I cannot believe those guys are actually getting rollback. I thought that was supposed to be a myth, like the Tooth Fairy in Reaganomics. How did this happen? Like I genuinely thought it was never gonna come. The sad little yellow circle. Yeah, that thing moved mountains, I'll tell you. Megamind meme voice, no rollback? Yeah. I think that's also why like Grand Blue players are gonna get fucking rollback in the sequel or something, right? Or I don't know, maybe they got rollback. I don't remember what else where else it worked its magic, but I remember it being in more than one place. God. They're getting in the sequel and the beta for it was amazing. Oh my god, yeah. I wanted to play. I never managed to get the chance to hop on that. I'm glad to hear that it was good though. Let's see here. They have Fall Guys. Yep. That was a big thing. That and they have fucking like Metopia or whatever. Like I saw some person's post getting blown up because they were saying like they have translated the shrimp icon to like the ratio. It's like a call to ratio. Fucking incredible. The thing is, I was never a super fan of Fall Guys, so that's why I am unimpressed by that as a feature. But the Metopia thing, I also never played Metopia, but I am impressed to like the energy that it's captured. Grill issue. Oh no, hang on, that's not right. Some loser was like stoning is cheating, and he got fucking flooded with shrimps. He right though, is the thing. He right though. I say as somebody who mains like a pseudo sonar in Guilty Gear. I don't know, where does Faust lie exactly? Does he qualify as a sonar? I don't think he does. Like, does he? Like, what's the general consensus vis-a-vis Faust and zoning? I play Johnny. Yeah, that's true. Faust is a Faust. Doctor. Not, I was about to say Doctor Who. Doctor Seuss ass sentence. Yeah. They need to have a category of characters who are just silly geese. A category of characters for dudes who just want to chill and have fun. A category of characters like that one picture of a dog who has like a propeller beanie and a lollipop. It's kind of insane to me, right? I saw earlier this one post about like essentially like Anji mains and Faust mains essentially kind of wailing on each other because Anji has like some great tools for fighting against Faust, and Faust has some great tools for fighting against Anji. My brother in Christ, we are both like low tier. We need to stick together. Ape together strong. Hmm. Hang on, I'm gonna try something real quick. If not, I'm just gonna add the model of the jetpack and fucking figure it out from there. Okay, increase this like this. Move this up. Okay, then over here. Actually, hang on, I'm gonna try something as well. Just flip this around, like so. Alright, move this like so, and... Faustmates are those birds that fly face first into your window, and Anjimates are the white eyes that you sometimes see watching you from the forest. Yeah, the problem with those white eyes watching me from the forest is that I'm pretty sure I couldn't take them in a fight. I I see an Anjimane and I'm like, and I'm jumping in. I'm getting in there. I'm getting my elbows greasy. Yeah, also I think I might as well just get the jetpack model in here. Hang on, where's the... I must have it somewhere in here, right? Is it you? Is it you? No? None of these. Okay. All right, where are 3D character, laser rifle, hold a jetpack V2. Here we go. Wait, no, I need the extended one. Jetpack, here we go. I love it when Twitch crashes a stream to make me watch an ad. Damn. Yeah, no. Now that's happened to me a couple of times too. It's kind of crazy how it seems to horn in at just the right moment to ruin your evening. I've been trying to get less sidewinded by ads by kind of adding that ads manager thing. So now at least I know when they're coming and I can tell everybody to like duck their heads and cover their ears for the next 40 seconds. Funny how it gives me so much buffering on your stream but none in the ads. Crazy. I hate the internet so much. I hate Web 2.0. I hate all the ads. I hate fucking. You know what I hate actually? You know what? Hate is a very strong word, but I know exactly what I hate. Earlier today, right? Yesterday, actually. Yesterday, Sunday night, I made myself a kind of cake called a castella, right? Have you ever heard of castella? It's a kind of sponge cake with a strong honey flavor. it uses honey in the batter, which is where the flavor comes from. I have already eaten it. I ate like the entire kind of baking sheet of castella that I made. That's fine. That food was meant to be eaten. But the problem is that like I found that when I took it out of the oven and let it cool, the top of it for some reason was like really sticky, so it was very difficult to get. It wasn't soggy, right? Like it wasn't raw at all. It was perfectly cooked down the middle. But for some reason the very top part of it was like a very sticky mess. Like it was very difficult to like unmold it and everything. So I did a little bit of research, right? I did a little bit of research as to why this happened, and I think I've pinpointed the cause. There's like a couple of reasons, right? It can happen. Weirdly enough, one of the websites actually told me for what to do after. Like it was like, here's what to do if your cake has a soggy top, and it was like for after the cake was out of the pan, so it was completely the opposite of what I wanted. But in any case, yeah, for it, if your baked goods get wet after you take them out of the oven, you have to put a little bit of baking soda on a paper towel and then slide that into whatever container you're keeping the goods in, and that should absorb a little bit of the moisture. Another tip was like for if the edges of the cake are soggy, right, which happens if you let too much moisture build up inside the tin. But I think I did find the reason for why my cake specifically was so sticky on top. So the reason why is because sugar, as you may or may not know, is like one of the best water absorbing things ever. It's got a word for it. It's like high. I remembered well actually because instead of being hydro, it is high grow, right? Like in GRO. So hygroscopic. Sugar is hygroscopic, which means it attracts water. So whenever you have something that has a lot of sugar in it, it'll just absorb water from the environment. And what's interesting is that the reason that I bring this up is because the recipe that I use calls for a single tablespoon of water in order to mix the honey a little bit better. Right? So what you do is you have the honey, you have the batter that you have to incorporate it into. Honey is very thick and heavy. So if you just dump it into like the 6 eggs that you've whipped into stick peaks, right, it's gonna sink all the air out of it and you'll be ruined. But if you dilute in a little bit of water instead, if you mix it with water, it becomes a little bit more workable, right? But the problem that I imagine happened when I baked my cake was that all that water that I added to that tablespoon, all the water molecules in there, must have floated to the top of the cake during the baking process as steam, and that's what caused the moisture at the top. So next time I'm just gonna try to like dissolve the sugar in oil or something besides water. Maybe milk. I'm not sure, but it can't be water. Milk is like mostly water, actually, so maybe oil might be the right answer. But like very little, perhaps. Anyway, I was telling you that story because I also realized that like halfway through, I don't know what it is, right? I don't know if it. The problem with recipe sites is that for me, it is impossible to distinguish them from good old fashioned content aggregation same posting to some shit written by AI. Like to me, they are indistinguishable. Like I feel like I see some recipe site talk about like some secret tip for, like I saw the same tips across like 3 different websites, and I realized these rubes were all using the exact same sources, and either they were like using an AI to write the articles, and the AI was referencing that source, or they were just being lazy dickheads and not really making any research of their own, and instead just using it to get clout or some search engine optimization for their site. And that really made me angry. I don't like it made me abnormally angry. I can't ask any question on Google without having to put Reddit after the question. Oh my god, yeah. That's so annoying too, because that's annoying, right? That's annoying that you have to do that. But at least it's satisfying, because if you get a wrong answer from that, you're not getting some kind of machine brain stupid fucked up answer that kills you. You're getting some regular old human stupidity. And the benefit of that is that at least with regular old human stupidity, you at least have people who are like trained to call it out, right? Like, people on Reddit will be very happy to prove someone wrong. So that's at least a benefit. No, I do know how humiliating that is. I've had to do it a couple of times myself. I've started using this search engine called DuckDuckGo, which is supposed to be less intrusive than Google. And that's helped sometimes. Sometimes. Very few times, but sometimes. That is, of course, if I just don't say fuck it, we ball and try something myself. Like, the thing is, right, it's very difficult. Like I said, it's very difficult to tell apart whether an article was like written by a machine or just written by a person who was trying to do search engine optimization bullshit, and thus in turn sacrifice the legibility and navigability of their article. Right? Like I was reading when I was trying to figure out if I could use oil to substitute it. There was this one article that like started that the first hit on the search engine was like basic water substitutes for baking, and I clicked in there, and immediately it said like, can I use fruit pulp to substitute water? And I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted to know. I just need to know like a list, like a very normal, easy list. I had to go scroll through like 4 or 5 different headlines to get there. It is unideal. AI was supposed to destroy us with robots and nukes and shit by not stealing content. I mean, there was that one headline I read that I didn't actually read the article myself because I didn't think it was real. But there was this one headline that said like the Pentagon is now considering letting AI figure out who to kill. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we're getting the worst of both worlds. We're getting the banal cyberpunk intrusion, and also we're also getting the horrific cyberpunk reality. Ay, yes, mio. I just wish to know peace sometimes. It's very difficult to, it gets difficult to keep your chin up, right? From time to time, like it can be a little bit hard in this environment to do that, but you have to do it because otherwise, it's like if you don't laugh, you'll cry, right? You're allowed 5 minutes to behold the horrors and freak out about it, but then you got to keep it gangsta. All right, I gotta get these action lines out of here. They're cramping my style a little bit. Okay, move this here. I'm glad I have the model, because otherwise I'm going to spend hours and hours trying to figure out where I need to place the wing. I would happily shoot down Amazon delivery kill drones with you once the apocalypse starts. Same here, bud. Take my hand. We'll go throw rocks at the drones together. The packages we scavenge from their carry-on shall sustain us through the winter. Okay, move this like this. Okay, move this like this. Alright, there we go. Let's see. Oh yeah, posture check. I love checking my posture. Man, how am I not gonna have a how am I literally? I have principles, right? But I literally don't have a spine as a bag of rice who is carried by a body of mochi. How am I gonna get backaches, huh? How am I gonna get backaches despite not having a spine? Are these like fucking whatchamacall, not psychological, like it's like phantom limb stuff, hang on, I'm gonna take that sip of water real quick. It's like what happens with placebo. Physiological? No. It's like meaning placebo, like a psycho. It has psycho in it, like psychosometric. No, it basically means that it's part of what you think you should be feeling, rather than like what you phantom limb. Kind of. Phantom limb falls under the category. It's like a placebo effect. Hang on, I'm gonna look up placebo effect, and that will psychosomatic maybe. Hang on, is it psychosomatic? Yes, okay, it's psychosomatic. Of to or relating to a disorder having physical symptoms but originating from mental or emotional causes. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. Psychosomatic. High five, brain. We were really close. God. Alright, we put this here. We put this over here. Disconnect the dots. It's the easiest thing in the world. The benefit of the model is that I don't have to worry about where anything goes, but I do have to worry about like making it look more polished. That's what I was hoping to achieve by using the model first and then, you know, making the sketch on top of that. I would be able to like make it a little bit more cartoony. But the problem is that past a certain point, it's particularly with stuff like this jetpack, right? That's supposed to take up a lot of space. It's supposed to be like a very demanding presence, right? In terms of like how it interacts with the environment and your body. It's hang on, there we go. It's actually I find it in my experience that it looks a little better too stiff than too fluid. There we go. All right, I might need to shrink this thing down. No, maybe the wing down I should shrink, but I don't know. At least that much is done. And the rest of this I can just freehand. Just to change topics into more positive stuff. Is there anything you're looking forward to? Game releases, movies, events, etc. Hmm. It's a little bit of a personal matter, but I'm hoping that I get some good news soon because how do I put this? My life is going great, right? Like I've been kind of killing it out here, but if a certain little miracle happens that I can't really talk about for personal reasons within like the next 2 or 3 days, I will be one very happy man in 2 or 3 weeks from now, or in like 2 weeks from now. That's super convoluted to describe and very difficult to like understand, but basically I'm looking to forward to something that'll help me look forward to something. I think that's the best way to explain it. In terms of game releases, though, nothing really comes to mind. I copped a few new games during the Steam sale, but I'm mostly trying to work through a few different ones that I've been meaning to play. The problem with having too many ambitions is that like you create these. So like I could theoretically play any of the games that I have in my library, but I kind of want to save them for a specific occasion, you know? Chucky coming to Dead by Deadlight. Yeah, the Pabs Pabs over Chucky mod when. They're gonna announce me as a new skin for Dead by Daylight. He's the only guy small enough that I could like reasonably pretend to be. Preston, I don't know if you've ever seen that one. You know how like um a lot of like Chucky's backstory is supposed to be like rooted in like voodoo, right? Like it's like a bastardization of like voodooing, which is like an actual religion that I'm not qualified to talk about. Have you seen this one comic where like where like Chucky is like doing like some ritual magic bullshit, and and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm doing voodoo rituals." Voodoo isn't a real thing. It was made up by Hollywood in order as a bastardization of voodoo. And he's like, "Huh?" And like he like stops to Google it. If I can find it again, I'm gonna send that to you. Oh yeah. Also, picking up from a conversation we had the other day, right? I saw this one website that I didn't really get the punchline of the post until like I saw something that I recognized from one of our conversations. It was this website that claimed to like have a resource for horror movie new fans to horror movies, right? Like newbie friendly horror movies. And I didn't recognize any of them until I saw art at the bottom left and I realized that they were recommending Terrifier 2 as one of like the newbie starter recommendations. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're taking the piss here. Right? Like they're trying to they're trying to ruin somebody's day. God. That was really funny. I'm glad that you told me about that movie so I can like kind of recognize that in the future. I feel like that joke wouldn't have landed for me nearly as well as it had if you hadn't told me about that movie. I would have just seen it and moved on. But no, I saw that damn smile of his. I saw that funny little bitch with his clown makeup, and I'm like, oh shit! Wait a minute, somebody's being taken for a ride. Hmm. All right, hang on. Let me put this hand aside for a minute. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna move the jetpack in a little bit. I think that that's the key here. Not to move the other parts out, but to move the jetpack in to where I want it to be, or where it would be more comfortably placed. Okay, we're not gonna shrink it down anymore. I will tilt it a little bit. There we go. God, yeah. They're gonna be like that one meme of like fucking Mr. Incredible in the Iron Lung submarine. At least that's what I always interpreted like that grayscale Mr. Incredible meme as. Like he's like in a dark pit somewhere. Or like he's being eaten by mold. Okay, there we go. The most memorable instance that I have in my memory of that meme is this one advertisement for like one of those like Bitcoin miner esque phone games that like use your phone battery to like mint NFTs or some shit. And it had him changing different states as like the game got closer and closer to being over. Yeah, and I feel like horror movie talk is something that you have to break out like a fine wine. You need to know that the audience will appreciate it, and you need to know that it's like the right moment. I reckon that's a problem with a lot of like more obscure stuff, right? Like I reckon that's not just a problem unique to like cult horror movies, right? It's like also just a general problem when talking about something that's too obscure because if you find somebody who's also into it and who also understands what you're talking about, it's like you're suddenly speaking the same language. It's great. It's like you're running into somebody from a home country. But conversely, if they don't know anything about it and everything that's great about it is just kind of like in your head at the time being, it's very difficult to eloquently express why you like it so much and why you want to enthuse about it. The problem is that like person to person communication is like fundamentally like a lossy medium, right? So something about your intention and and like your eloquence always gets lost in translation somehow, even if you're speaking the same language with the same ideas. So it's tough. Let's see. Put this here. Put this here. Imagine trying to describe Junji Ito's story if Junji Ito wasn't a household name in horror, and you would have to describe what happened in the stories. Yeah, right. Hmm. No, I can kind of see that, right? Like because the thing about Junji Ito's stories, I mean, it depends on which Junji Ito story, right? Like, I feel like something like Gyo, for example, would be much easier to explain to someone than, say, Uzumaki or fucking that one comic about like a girl with a mole on her face. I forget her name, but you get what I mean, right? It's like some of it is easy. It's like some of the more abstract ones would be much harder to explain. Meanwhile, Gyo is just like, man, wouldn't it be fucked up if a shark had legs? And then you go from there. The later twists in the story would be much more difficult to explain, but it's not. It wouldn't be impossible. Hellstar Remina is one of my personal favorites. What's that one about? If you don't mind me asking. Hellstar Remina is such a cool name. I feel like I feel like if nobody takes that as inspiration for their VTuber name, they are missing out. Hellstar Remina looks like what fucking Centraya's death metal model should be named. Hellstar Remina is is that dude from Ratatouille who lets the rat pilot him around. Wait, no, Remy is the name of the rat. Hellstar Remina is the name of the rat from Ratatouille. I keep forgetting that the dude's name is Linguini. I just remember somebody being called Remy. It's about Earth is about to be devoured by a giant sentient planet. Oh, that's kind of cool though. I could see that being I could see that being like a decent horror thing. Like that's a great idea for like a horror story. I'm guessing there are like twists and turns to it though. Man, I should really try and read Uzumaki one of these days. The planet it was named after the daughter of the person who discovered it. What a dubious honor. Like, how do you feel if you're the Remina in question, right? Like, how would you react to that? Like, oh, daughter, guess what Daddy found at work today? What was it, Dad? I found a planet that's going to devour ours in a messy orgy of violence and destruction. Cool. Did you name it something? Well, you're not gonna believe this, oh daughter of mine. It's like that. That conversation must have been fucking awful. Definitely in the child custody hearings. And now they found out the planet was going to eat them, and they fell into hysteria and are trying to sacrifice the daughter in order to appease it. I mean, to be fair, they didn't know the planet was alive. That's true. They didn't know that. To some credit to them. Oh yeah. Also, ad is about to start in like 10 seconds, so make sure to duck your head and cover your ears. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. I need to stop messing up the timing because it sometimes says like ads starting soon, and then it takes a few seconds to juice up. To get the engine going. It's not like they have any trouble loading it when they start. What do they need to like what's there to think about? It's unreasonable that they need so much time to think about how to start an ad. I'm guessing you're supposed to press the start ad button and then kind of call out, "Hey, watch out," or like, "Hey, we're gonna go into the ad," or something, or like, "Hey, we'll be right back after our word from our sponsors." Maybe that's the purpose of it, and I'm just like not getting it. Okay, there we go. The daughter is also a teen idol and explores themes about obsession and parasocial relationships. That's kind of sick, though. Now you've brought me back around. Like, that's some perfect blue shit. I like that. Dude, people need to tap into Perfect Blue. I've been saying this. Like, you can just watch that shit on YouTube now. It's really easy. I mean, it's very difficult. You will certainly not find it on YouTube if you're a cop. Just saying. God. I really need to watch other Satoshi conflicts. I remember trying to watch Paprika when I was like way too young for it. But hopefully I'll be able to convince more people to watch Perfect Blue at some point because I still need to watch Paprika. I really want to watch Paprika at some point, but it's proven difficult to get a hold of. A bunch of rich assholes try to leave Earth to colonize Remina, but then they get fucking murdered and eaten. Karma. God, I remember my family one time during New Year's came together to watch that one parody movie, Don't Look Up. It was a good time. It was good spending time with them, but the movie I honestly couldn't care less for. Like it was such an annoying like how like a common like criticism of the Outer Worlds that like supposed um spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas was that like the humor is just kind of like hurtful rather than like something we can laugh along with, right? Like it's like trying to make a parody, but like everything is so real that it's just kind of off-putting. That's kind of like what happened with me and Don't Look Up. That I couldn't really enjoy it for that reason. And I get the feeling that like the ending of Don't Look Up and the ending of Hellstar Reina are probably gonna be, or at least the situation with the rich people in Hellstar Reina are kind of gonna be very similar. At least there's some more catharsis in the fact that they get eaten directly. And I know that Junji Ito doesn't give a shit about how they fare. it's still really funny to me that they somehow went to the one planet that was like they went to the hell planet and they were like, surely this will be perfectly easy and normal to get into, no issues. Like my brother in Christ, you're into scary story. What would be my plan of strategy in that situation? Oh, Jinjito is not afraid to address topics considered controversial in Japan. Yeah, nah. He also makes a very cute cat comic, which, multifaceted individual. Okay, grab this. Come on, let me grab it. Let firmly grasp it. Who was the first mangaka to directly address the horrific shit that Japan did in World War II? Oof. Yeah, no, that'll ruffle some feathers in Japan. Oh boy. Never listen. Never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or the Japanese Imperial Army what they did in China during the Second World War. That's not something we should laugh about. The thing about Hellstar Remina is that there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop the Hellstar in question. They're going to get eaten, and that's it. The horror mostly comes from other people, and like, who are you when nobody's looking? Ah, I see. So it's a good old-fashioned cosmic horror story. That's cool. Hmm. The gun is very small in this panel. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, maybe if I just kind of make this come in a little closer. It asks, what would you do if the world were to end tomorrow? And the answer for a lot of them is to hunt down a teenage girl that has the unfortunate coincidence of sharing a name with a planet eater. Oof. Yeah, that's heavy stuff. Yeah. Switching topics again, man. Do you have anything you're looking forward to? Uh, Hang on. Like, do you have anything you're looking forward to in the future? Or in the near future? Because I had like a weird contingent thing, but maybe you've got something that you've got kind of cooking in the back there. Oh right, Chucky coming by daylight. Right. That's how this whole thing started. Hmm. Nah, hang on. I'm gonna rework this one a couple more times. Yeah, hang on. Okay, now we're doing something. As for the long term, I'm not too sure. I'm moving back to my grandma's house because, fortunately, Illinois is just refusing to hire people. Fuck, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Uh, yeah, hopefully you find more good things waiting for you once you change locations. Yeah, it sounds like you need a win right now, man. I'm hoping you'll find it. I'm hoping you'll find something that can benefit you. You're gonna be okay, man. You're gonna be okay. Okay. Oh, hey. Switching topics. Do you want to hear about the Gerber singles? Want to hear about like what Gerber singles are? Yep. All right. So, you know Gerber the baby food, right? The creators of baby foods. Like Gerber's whole thing is that they make and manufacture baby food, right? Well, it turns out that at some point during the like I want to say 70s, during the 70s. Imagine, if you will, the innocent Campbell soup can. Sold in single units, perhaps in boxes. The whole idea of the like soup can is that that you unseal the can and you have like a meal ready to eat, right? You just stick it in the microwave, you boil it in a pot if you're feeling fancy smanchy. You drop an egg in there if you're feeling extra hungry, or if you need the protein, right? Now imagine that, but instead it's like foods that have been blended together in like a baby food substitute. Effectively, they wanted to make like those like whatchamacall Soylent protein shakes that they have nowadays as meal replacements, but as like baby food. But Pabs, you might ask, doesn't that sound awful? Eating food that was like blended together in hopes of like enticing you to buy a glass jar full of like blended mashed potatoes with gravy and the sauce? It is. It had like 3 months of time on the shelves before they were pulled and never to return. It was really bad. Like the tagline was something like, "We were good for you then, we're good for you now." It sounds really bad, right? Like it doesn't sound like none of the situation sounds good by any measure. Hmm. Hang on. But yeah, all of 3 months before dropping on the shelves. The thing is, right? The whole reason they started doing it is because apparently they were inspired by the fact that U.S. birth rates were dropping at the time, and there were also declining rates of marriages. So there wasn't like a hope for an upswing. So they basically said, "All right, shit, we need to find a way to offload our capacity because otherwise we're going to be producing too much baby food, and we're not going to be able to sell it all." So the conclusion that they came up with was to make the Gerber single. Hang on, let me see if I can find a picture of it real quick. Hang on. Here we go. Ah, look at that. Mediterranean vegetables and beef burgundy. Like, it's just brown. It's just brown paste. Oh, there's more. Blueberry delight. Oh, brother, you know I gotta get me a jar of that creamed beef made by Gerber Singles. I'm hungry for it. Oh, Christ alive. Creamed beef. She cream on my beef till my Gerber single. All right, that's the one I make for today. That's the one they make for the divorced wives. This is just so. It's so much, right? It's really, really bad. The thing is, right, like, the difference between this and, like, hang on. The difference between this and, like, one of these fucking things, right, is, like, negligible. Right? Like, they both have, like, the right amount of calories. They both have, like, some degree of sodium, some kind of degree of, like, whatever, right? But this is, like, inherently more dignified to me because at least they're very honest about what they are, right? Like they're not bullshitting you, right? Like they're just not like, yeah, we're plant protein and essential nutrients. It doesn't get simpler than this. This is like it's trying to inspire you into think. It's like when a parent when like you've ever seen those scenes where like a parent is like imagine they're where like a parent is trying to feed their kids like vegetables or something, and they say something along the lines of, "Now imagine it's like a tasty, delicious brownie." Like it's so self delusional. It's so dishonest. Anyway, this is how I learned that apparently there was a fad diet not too long ago where people straight up did eat baby foods for similar reasons, right? You know, fad diets, right? People do them all the time. People did eat baby foods, but it turns out that that didn't work too good. Besides the fact that it's just super weird, it's also the fact that apparently chewing makes you feel more full. So if you just eat nothing but liquids, you feel very hungry still. So it doesn't work as a diet. God, what a time. The 70s, folks. What a time to be alive. My heart goes out to the poor divorced man that had to eat one of these in a studio apartment. I hope he bounced back from that. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be one of those break or make meals, right? Like, it's like one of those like trials that God puts before you. If you somehow survive the Gerber baby single with the Gerber single with your brain and mind intact and your spirit so willing, I feel like you will be gained with you will be filled like with a holy second wind, just for the sheer motivation of never having to experience it again. They're like, this is no way for a man to live, and you will like get your shit together. Alternatively, you'll learn that you can in fact live like this, and then there'll be that's like your rock bottom. That's like there's no coming back from it. It's one of those things that really tells you what you are in the dark. Would you or would you not eat a Gerber single? I've seen people eat craft singles. I almost said craft single there. I know people will eat craft singles. I've seen people fucking eat craft singles like some kind of hungry wood chipper. But I feel like the Gerber single is a whole new another level. Yeah, the perspective works better like this. Come on, man. At least eat regular cheese slices. Yeah, it's very hard for me. Right, I ate a lot of like craft singles during a period of my life. I ate them in sandwiches, of course, right? But I don't know. I can't look at those things the same way again. Okay, there we go. Remember people used to eat Nutella right out the jar? I'm not gonna. That's like that's like an indulgence, right? Type of thing, right? So that's a completely separate thing. But I feel like that's also like one of those moments where you need to like reassess your life. You know, like that's one of those breaker make meals. Like I told you, Nutella Banks. I was into it for a little while, but I feel like the magic wore away after a while. Yeah, I learned the hard way from a webcomic author that I follow that you should never ever. Well, no, the webcomic author learned it the hard way. I learned it the easy way, which is why by observing others. That you shouldn't try to like mix Nutella with any water-based drinks because Nutella is like it has like a lot of fat content in there. So what's going to happen is like the hazelnut flavoring and everything, it's going to kind of sink to the bottom, while the grease kind of like gathers up at the top, like like fresh milk or like fresh cream from the milk. So yes, unideal as a situation. Why would you mix Nutella with a liquid? Like to make chocolate milk or something, I reckon, or like with tea, right? Like I could see something like cinnamon tea or the like being a good match with Nutella. Okay, and I forgot what the rifle looked like. What is this art of, by the way? Oh, it's for the comic that I've been working on. Uh, so in the last page, the protagonist Hawk had noticed that one of the goons in question had been aiming at her with a gun. So now she's dodging out of the way. Okay, move this like so. I should move the leg up a little bit. Okay, cut it off here and there. I can figure out some more stuff with the line art later, but this should be a good kind of shorthand for she's just moving very quickly over the box here. Make the scope for the rifle right here. Hang on, let me pull up the reference for the rifle. I should drink some more water while I'm at it. All right, yeah, no, chill, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Nice talking with you. Thanks for coming by. All right, the scope in question here. I need to stop saying the X, Y, Z thing in question. I feel like that started to become far too much part of my vocabulary. I don't know how jarring it is when people hear my voice and after that, like, for people who hear my voice first and then see my model, how jarring might that be, right? Because I feel like if you hear my voice, you don't really picture. I'm not gonna lie. I think that if you heard my voice without any context, you would picture like the most basic ass black haired anime boy avatar available, possibly even a Vroid, like a stock model Vroid, no modifications, no accessories, no nothing. Just some dude in a hoodie who like put himself into Vroid one day. I feel like I'm putting myself down a little too hard with that, but that's. Sometimes you need a little bit of exaggeration in order to make your point. I don't know. I feel like for people who see my model first, they expect maybe more like a higher pitched voice, or maybe somebody who speaks much more energetically. I talk a lot, but I don't feel like I speak energetically. At least not unless I'm laughing. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to say because like a lot of the people that watch this channel regularly have kind of known me since day one. So for them, I reckon it's not weird anymore. But hang on, I need to drink some more water. Yeah, I do wonder. I think everybody must wonder at some point, right? Like how others must perceive them. I feel like that's the one thing that most people want to know is like, how do others perceive me? How do others kind of view me outside of myself? Like that's always a big concern for others, for most people, I think. It's also a very big concern for me. I'm not going to act like I'm immune to it. But, the good thing is that as long as I keep killing it, it doesn't matter what I look like. As long as I keep popping off, nobody will remember my face. They'll just remember my name and the fact that I fucking rocked it. That's all I need. I don't do this for the recognition. I do this for the glory. Hmm. Okay, dropping this to one side. Come on, bud. There we go. Okay, then over here. Then over here. I feel like that's a little too big in terms of like rifle size. See, now that's too small, but it's kind of like more accurate to the dimensions that I wanted. Maybe if I widen this part here, just a little bit. Okay. No, hang on. Something's not right here. This. Okay, moving this all the way over here. What is this other part? Oh, that's the rest of the rifle after I cut it off. Right. Now I remember that. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Now I can move around a little better. There we go. Hang on. All right, you might have heard me make a sound effect with my mouth just now. I promise that that's part of the creative process. That genuinely does help me to figure out the emotions sometimes. Just making the sound effect with my mouth. I don't know. Maybe that's another one of those psychosomatic things that I was talking about. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. I feel like if I can hear the sound effect, I can draw the action better. Come to think of it, that might not actually be so unusual. There was this webcomic I read not too long ago, right? Lavender Jack, where in one of the kind of like author Q&A segments that they had, the author Dan Schady, who is kind of a beast at making comics, I'm not gonna lie, the author noted that like Lavender Jack's whole thing is that he can use a snap of his fingers. It's like some kind of like pseudo scientific technology thing that he has. Essentially, he has a machine that it gets activated whenever he snaps his fingers, which causes metal to get a little bit too excited and it pops. And the reason he wanted to use a snapping gesture specifically as the trigger for the machine was because he wanted a kind of audio visual, not him the character, but him the author. The reason that Dan Schady wanted that kind of like wanted that gesture in particular is because you can very easily imagine what it sounds like for somebody to snap their fingers. Right? It's like one of those things that you can kind of like imagine if you read it on a page. And that gave it some interesting liveliness. I thought that was very clever. Okay, go like this. I think I'm just gonna leave this background blank for the time being and just have it be like a red, bright red background. Hmm. Man, I hope all these action lines don't come back to bite me when I'm coloring. That would suck. Actually, should we call it there for tonight? I feel like we've done some good work just filling out this first panel with what we had. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. All right, I'm heading out. Y'all have a great rest of your evenings, all right? I'll see you on Wednesday for some more comic work. All right. Adios. Later. Bye.